a Bollywood actress, that means they have to be good at speaking Hindi. Now, being born and brought up in Australia, I have gotten a bit used to speaking and thinking in English. So although I know how to speak Hindi fluently from before and I know how to actually communicate in Hindi, sometimes it feels like I can be better. Like sometimes it feels like I'm thinking in English, then I'm translating from English to Hindi, and then that Hindi is coming out of my mouth and it's just sometimes random words. But if I don't practice it, it's gonna be a bit embarrassing because you can't be a Bollywood actress without actually knowing the language. I'm just gonna end up speaking like Chatur from Three Idiots, being like, Vastra utariye, nahi to ye aap par mutra visarjan karenge. Plus, to get better at being charismatic, it's also important to know how to have a good conversation from your end too. Now, I like to think of myself as someone who has gotten better over time. Usually I just listen and let the other person talk, which makes them feel like they've had a great conversation when in reality they were just talking about themselves in their own life. And I just ask them a couple of questions. Shout out to How to Win Friends and Influence People. But then on the off chance I meet someone who's also a listener and also likes to ask questions about the other person, I don't really know what to talk about. So I decided to try and talk to the camera in Hindi for 30 days. So I basically just got this random template online which had 30 topics to talk about for the next 30 days and literally just tried talking on each topic for at least 10 minutes in front of the camera. So for the first few days, no one actually talks about how hard this is. Usually I think I'm okay at like talking in front of the camera and stuff, especially in English. But when you fully set up your camera there and you're about to talk and you're like, so, you're just sitting there for like God knows how long, just not knowing what to talk about.
Actually, मैं शुरू करती हूँ कि मैं challenge क्यों कर रही हूँ इसका पूरा overall विषय.
I'm not gonna lie, for the first few days it was kind of tough. I'm gonna be honest, it was kind of tough. Sometimes I'd like start getting really fluent on something.
एक vanilla candle है, वो एकदम कैरमल वनीला LCM बार जैसे बहुत ही अच्छी स्मेल करती है, और उसके पास में एक और कैंडल है जो आधी जल चुकी है, एक और कैंडल है जो पता नहीं कहाँ से मिली थी लेकिन मुझे बाहर सब मिल गई थी तो मैंने अपने कमरे में डाल दी.
And then other times where I would try and just like think of all the words in Hindi, because you know how sometimes when you're speaking in Hindi and you just randomly say a word in English, right? So for example, you're saying मैं अभी कैमरे में बात कर रही हूँ. I would just be trying to figure out the literal translations for camera in Hindi and then realize that I don't know, and then it would just go into this whole mess of not knowing what word to say, which would make me slow down even more.
तो मैंने सोचा है कि मैं ये जो कर रही हूँ challenge.
So since this started happening, I decided to like for the first few days focus on how I can improve my actual thinking and pronunciation of the words. So this means I basically tried to say whatever things I was thinking on the topic, unfiltered, and I could take as many pauses or stops in between to actually figure out what I was thinking. So there was no pressure to just speak fluently. The main purpose here was to transfer my thoughts onto the camera and in what I said.
तो ये थी मेरी जो तरकीबें जो मैंने सीखी थी from how to win friends or influence people. आज के चैलेंज के नज़रिए से बोलूँ तो मुझे महसूस होता है थोड़ा मुझे थोड़ा सा महसूस हो रहा है कि मैं और भी ज़्यादा बेहतर होती जा रही हूँ. हाँ, लेकिन आज सिर्फ दूसरा ही दिन है.
And I think doing this actually set up a good foundation to get better over the next 30 days. Because since I'd already figured out how to translate between English to Hindi, I started actually thinking and communicating in Hindi over time as well. Instead of having to first be like, okay, dog is kutta in Hindi, and then this sentence will go to Mera kutta mahan hai. I don't know, that's just random. But like, मेरे पास कुत्ता भी नहीं है, मैं क्यों बोल रही हूँ कि मेरा कुत्ता महान है. Anyways, yeah, so doing that really helped. And the next portion, I basically tried to increase the toughness of it all. And the next portion, which I feel like is the 7 to 14 day-ish mark, is the trying to get better at fluency and improving the flow of saying everything and trying to stop taking as many pauses.
पिछले हफ्ते में जो चीज़ मुझे इम्प्रूव करनी है और वो है कि कई बार मुझे लगता है कि मैं थोड़ी-सी मोनोटोनस हो जाती हूँ या फिर सोचने लगती हूँ, जो ठीक है क्योंकि मैं ये चैलेंज कर रही हूँ, इसी कारण से कर रही हूँ। पर मुझे वो चीज़ को बहुत ही ज़्यादा इम्प्रूव करना है और हाँ, ये है मेरी 1 हफ्ते की रिफ्लेक्शन। थैंक यू सो मच। आई लव यू।
And after each session, I was also writing down feedback for myself after watching it and replaying it. And so I took that and wrote it as the next steps for the next day, which also helped point out the little things which needed improvement, like, for example, improving eye contact and not just, looking around too much or having stiff body language. Because sometimes when I'd be trying to figure out a word, I feel like my body language and my eye contact and stuff would get a bit stiff and wouldn't be as good. And then from the 14 to 21 day mark, I tried introducing a little bit more toughness. So I tried experimenting with things like proximity, like first talking like this and then going back to talk like this. And then sometimes I would just end up here again and you wouldn't know what's going on. So that was really fun. Although I do feel like that did make it a bit more tougher because now I had to not only increase fluency, not only think and speak in Hindi, on a random topic which I had no preparation for, but now I also have to keep in mind that I actually have to do that, plus eye contact, plus body language and all that good stuff. And then pretty much from then to the rest of the challenge, I basically focused on improving just those areas because I feel like it would be good to master those first before moving on to anything else, while also considering the individual things I wrote down at the end of each day and how I can improve those as well. And I think this actually really helped because usually when I'm having a conversation, like just a general conversation with someone in Hindi, and I have to speak in Hindi, I can't speak in English or Punjabi because the other person doesn't know the language. Usually sometimes I can get a bit in my head about what to say next and how to say it and if it's coming across right, because sometimes when you do translate from English to Hindi, the translation isn't quite right and you do have to adjust it. Generally I could have a good conversation with someone in Hindi, that's not the matter. It's just after a while of speaking and conversing, sometimes it feels like the words are running out and I'm just like speaking in broken up words, which is not good. So I was actually conversing with a couple of people in Hindi and even halfway through the challenge, I could feel myself getting so much better at this. That was honestly so great because I felt like I could actually have a good conversation and contribute something valuable to the conversation. And it was also really fun just to get to know someone on a deeper level besides just the hi, hello, yes, I'm great, this is what I do in life, what about you? It was just great to talk about random things. And it wasn't just the talking in Hindi and charisma which got better as well, but also my improvisation improved so much because I was literally talking about random things and trying to figure it out as I went. And I was just given a brief topic and literally the world was my oyster. So, trying to figure out what to say next in the most randomest context, in the most randomest environment.
पार्किंसंस लॉ है, तो मुझे लगता है ये लॉ काफ़ी ही सही तरीके से बता रहा है कि कैसे होता है ये टाइम अलॉटमेंट। मैंने नोटिस किया कि अगर मैं कोई काम के लिए स्पेसिफिकली कोई समय नहीं निकालती और कहती हूँ कि बस आज मुझे ये काम करना है और बस हो गया, तो फिर लगता है कि पूरा दिन लग जाता है क्योंकि ऐसे लगता है कि आपके पास बहुत ही ज़्यादा समय है।
Like standing in front of a camera and just talking to it in your room isn't really a normal everyday thing you would see. So just trying to do that and trying to transform it into something more valuable.
और जो मैंने घुमाए हैं अपने बाल, वो मैंने इनवर्ड्स घुमाए हैं ताकि जो बाल है वो ऐसे ऐसे दिखे, क्योंकि मैंने नोटिस किया था कि जब मैं ऐसे करती थी तो मेरे बाल जो है वो माइक्रो बाल जो है वो स्टिक आउट करते थे और फिर फ्रिजी हो जाता था।
Not only has it improved my talking skills in Hindi, but talking skills in English as well have improved so much. Because as I was saying before, sometimes you just let the other person do the talking, and when the question comes on you, you are very put on the spot and you don't really know what to say. And now, because of this challenge, it's helped me get much better at talking in English as well and just communicating my thoughts. Okay, so the things which I think worked well in this challenge was I stood up and did every one of my videos instead of sitting down, because this also made me more conscious of my body language. So if you're just sitting down and you're talking, right, it's so easy to just lean back and be like this. But when you're actually standing up and you're trying to talk to a camera, it becomes a bit more awkward. So it really does push you out of your comfort zone to talk and to not look like you're just stiff 24/7. Also, writing down feedback for yourself after each and every session was really important in seeing what you have improved on and what you should improve on in the future. And another thing which worked really well was using the back camera of the phone instead of the front camera, because whenever I use the front camera, I'll just be staring at myself, which, you know, is so nice. But for the sake of this challenge, we need to look at the camera lens. And the things which I'd probably get rid of in this challenge would probably be the time limit of 10 minutes, because sometimes I think I was just talking about filler things which didn't really relate to the topic since I'd already talked about it, but I was just trying to hit that 10-minute mark, because the time limit isn't really good if you want to say it short and clear as well. Thanks for watching. Bye, Pookie!